countered Giant's strengths in that they could dive on Knight, get rid of him, and then deal with everybody else.
Certainly did. And moving forward, we'll have to see how Giants decide to set up their draft to perhaps better facilitate Knight, but also to allow SmityJ a little bit more threat on their backline, because that MIkyx did not have anywhere near the same sort of impact as the Olaf did.
It did not, and there are already adjustments in picks and bans. Can you explain to me why Nautilus is banned now? Or at least theorize why you
My only logic is they try to ban Nidalee and they misclick. I'm not even kidding. I honestly think like Nidalee is right next to Nautilus and they wanted to take it away from Maxlore.
This is a question we will have to ask the players, or whether or not they know something we don't. There have been some pivots. Vladimir is available. If Giants don't first pick it, you have to think that Splyce will run it.
But Sencux is Anivia. Really good pick into the Vladimir. I did actually watch the interview that Pobelta had where he said, I pick Anivia into Vladimir thinking it's a really good counter, but when I played against Bjergsen's, apparently Anivia does not counter Bjergsen's Vladimir. So perhaps if Knight can prove that his Vladimir is as good as Bjergsen's is, he may be able to deal with the Anivia that's likely to come out from Sencux.
I had the pleasure of talking to Sencux and Perks earlier in the week, and we were discussing exactly this, Vladimir versus Anivia and where the strengths are. All they could come to an agreement on was in team fights, Anivia can do very well.
Yes.
However, outside of that, definitely not the case. So we'll see whether or not Sencux wants to run that. We can expect it. We can anticipate it. However, he's saving that pick for a little bit later. It's a hover. Don't get excited about the Hecarim. You can't see Vedius jumping for joy. But we'll see whether or not they want to go there.
Yeah, we won't talk about that for now. We'll talk about the Vladimir that has come out from Knight. It is going to be a very powerful pick. It scales very well, has very good laning phase, transitions nicely into the mid, and it pretty much fits into a vast majority of team compositions. He's good at split pushing, he's good in team fights. The big problem is that he does lack quite a lot of utility, so hopefully from the rest of Giants' composition they need to make up for that somewhere, whereas the Ezreal and the Rek'sai, looks like that Splyce, they're just going to go with a composition that works. Why fix something that ain't broke, eh?
Well, there we go. As predicted, now we get to judge these guys on how well they perform on the particular champions. Knight, 2 games of Vladimir, 1 win, 1 loss. Only the single Anivia performance for Sencux, but he was not killed. He ended the game 2-0-13, so very, very good stats. More zone control, more AoE, more team fights as Mickey's locked in Zyra.
This is basically a strategy that has come out pre-planned from Splyce. They knew the Vladimir was coming, and the big issue that Vladimir has is getting onto your opponents. He has no gap closers. If you build the Brodo Belt, yes, it does help you a little bit, but you're pretty much just going to be running at your opponents. And the best way to deal with that is big areas of control that come from Anivia and Zyra. So Knight is going to have a really tough time in getting involved in these fights.
From Anivia, from Zyra, from blue build Ezreal, there are a lot of tools that Splyce can use to stay away from Vlad. I'm not a fan of this Alawi hover, because of the fact that all of these tools can also keep Alawi away. Alawi needs somebody to be running at her to work. So, Giants need to lock in their AD carry as well as their top laner, and it will be Irelia, that I like, against the CC and the Tenacity, and a very long-range ADC in Jhin. So there's actually, I think, some tools here for Giants to work with.
So, from Giants, they have a couple of interesting picks coming out. The Gragas is actually really good against these low mobility mages in the form of Zyra and Anivia. So if they're ever so slightly out of position, Maxlore is quickly going to be able to punish that. And when you have the follow-up from an Irelia and a Karma, it's quickly possible for you to just punish that. So there is that ability to just split the team fight up from Splyce, which is good from Giants. But this Jhin pick is really good at setting up picks, and the big thing for me is how well is he going to be able to deal with Wunder, who once again is just going to be running at your face.
Going to be a challenge. Although I do think in terms of the Splyce composition, they've got a real kite and fight, kite backwards and peel away. I kind of feel like Giants are going to be hard pressed to create initiation, so we could be in for another slow early to mid game until a team can find that explosive opportunity.
The thing is, though, for Splyce, is they actually have no real way to start a fight. Having a chat with Greppo, he said, yeah, Zyra is really good in lane. She is horrible to fight against in lane. She has so much damage.
Yeah, I heard his rant earlier.
She's really good in team fights as well, but she's awful at setting up proactive plays. It's so difficult for her to actually force anything. So just the entire Splyce lineup is very much, yeah, you run at us, but if Giants never do that, Splyce are never going to get the fights they want.
Well, on the side of Giants, they're going to be looking for the Maxlore engages with Gragas, potentially follow that up with a route from Irelia by SmityJ, but it's going to be difficult. It's going to be a challenge. It was the team comps once more. Let us know who... if Splyce are going to pick up this 2-0, I think if they can pick up 3 points, especially against a team like Giants, that is that 6-point swing. You deny 3 points to Giants, you give yourself 3 points, and you make it even more difficult for Giants to claw their way out of the 7th, 8th position that they currently find themselves in.
And if we just think of the teams right now that are fighting for that 4th place spot, which are Splyce, Roccat, and Schalke, getting 3 points right here for Splyce, and given that Roccat actually went 0 and 2 today against Origin, will mean that Splyce can start to solidify themselves a little bit more in the middle of the pack. So definitely an important win for Splyce to pick themselves up. And with the composition that they do have, I actually just straight up like it more. I think that it offers a lot. You have really nice scaling into the late game. Your early game is a little bit weak, but with the Zyra, you actually make up for that. Also with the Rek'sai too. So I actually like Splyce's composition overall, but the question is how well are they going to be able to set up against so much displacement on Giants?
Yeah, the only caveat that I think I see when I look at Splyce is how do they plan on taking a tower on even footing? You know, I think if they can punish a team fight, if they can re-engage and win, obviously, they've got tons of tools there, but I don't know, it could be challenging. Although they could also just zone everybody away with Anivia and Zyra if they ward their flanks properly.
The thing is, from Splyce, they actually have way more wave clear compared to Giants. They also have better poke than Giants, and when you're going up to a turret versus an Anivia, you have to be very mindful, because what she can do is she can just throw the wall up, and then she just puts her ultimate in a place that's forcing you into a certain direction, and then that results in making it a very easy Q land for the Anivia. So in terms of their siege, taking the turrets might be a little bit slow, but the actual setup and forcing your opponents away from turrets is actually quite doable from Anivia, especially in the mid to late game.
Can't afford to make mistakes against the Gragas engage, though. Right, Hustlin was hassling Splyce, getting in their face with that Karma. Lane swap is underway, and MIkyx's making his way up through the jungle, leaving a trail of seeds in his wake. And gonna give some additional vision as and when people step over those. So, or information rather. And then Splyce are gonna be on this tower. They're gonna get some support from Wunder as well.
So I want to keep my eyes on the 280 carries, because in game 1, we saw a significant difference in terms of CS between Kobbe and Sonstar. Kobbe was leaps and bounds ahead in terms of the farm department, and I'd like to see if the same thing happens in this game. So moving forward, hopefully the lane swaps will come out even for both sides. Likely that the top laners will suffer quite a lot. And I'm actually quite excited to see SmityJ on this Irelia, because he did play the tank in the last game. We talked about in Champions Select how we would like to see him on something a little bit more backline threat heavy, and Irelia is champion just for that.
One game in the past, 2-2, it was a loss, so not the greatest of showing. Taking a look at pick ban history, actually I can see we've kind of forgot that Hustlin's played 3 Northless games. So that was why it was banned.
My bad.
No, I have the information in front of me too. Flash Frost and Frostbite catches Knight out. He's doing a good job farming. Wave is pushing towards him as well, so Sencux burned through his mana pool, and the wave is pushing away from him. So this is going to be good signs for Knight.
So I love talking about mid lane matchups. So I'm going to put my 2 cents. Obviously, you were talking to a couple of professional mid laners about this matchup. My take on it is at 1 to 5, Knight will typically have the advantage. He can control the wave. It's quite easy for him to trade with Sencux, and typically you can push the Anivia under turret, because unless you burn all of your mana, there's no way you're going to be able to deal with the wave clear. But once you hit 6, it heavily swings in the other favor, because that ultimate makes it so hard for Knight to close the gap.
Wunder's in a little bit of trouble. Gets rooted down. Sonstar trying to catch up to Hustlin. Hustlin will find the root from the W, the resolve, and Wunder's able to just walk away. Play-by-plays get very excited at the potential kills, no matter how slim the odds are.
Well, I saw the Karma just running up to him, and I was like, Karma's got about as much CC as like a potato. I mean, it's not something that I would personally be very scared of.
How does a potato root you?
Exactly, that's my point. But either way, Wunder able to walk away from that one. And,
ladies and gentlemen,
the
motivational poster with videos. Week number 2. As much CC as a potato.
As much CC as a potato.
All right, we're going to create a library.
Just a wall of quotes from Vedia.
Yep.
That's the Badger is my favorite.
There we go. We'll see which one is the best of the worst, I think is how I'll look at that one. No real surprises in terms of the lane swap. Cloud Dragon is available as Dragon number 1. We'll see how long it takes these guys to prioritize it or focus it. Trashy was lingering in the mid lane, but good luck catching a flash ghost Vladimir.
Yep.
That is optimistic at best, but at least he's there for a potential counter gank if Maxlore wanted to jump on a Sencux.
Looks like SmityJ maybe not getting the most optimal bounce back in the bottom lane. Could come to hurt him slightly later on, but it does look like a gank might be coming out on tonight.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really think there was a gank. I think they're just going to shove the wave out, move away. Grasping roots.
Potato versus vegetable.
I think it's the same thing. I think
that is the same thing. I don't know where I was going with that.
MIkyx has got a small level advantage. And Kobbe again, CS advantage. Plus 10 out of the lane swap. As well as some support. Sonstar and Maxlore. They're going to look for Wunder. Flash away from the root. And teleport actually comes out from SmityJ. Maxlore's flashed for this run. There's no tower to fall back to. Body slam into Wunder. He's running for his life. Flash has been burned. SmityJ can flash. Equilibrium applies the slow. Frozen Domain will give some time. Wunder's trying to run for his life, but the barrel comes down. First blood to Giants.
So Maxlore has to invest a lot to actually get that kill. After the initial flash, he had no body slam available, so I was a little bit worried as to whether or not he was actually going to be able to get that kill, but Giants, they get themselves first blood, they punish the overextension of Wunder, and getting that early kill on the board is definitely going to be in their favor. Unfortunately, it does go on to Maxlore. Preferably, you'd want that on the Irelia, who did invest his teleport, but still, they managed to push the wave underneath the turret. That's going to bounce back in favor of SmityJ, and that's going to be better for SmityJ moving forward.
Teleports, 2 flashes for first blood and a flash from Wunder.
Ooh, Hustlin.
Splyce almost catch Hustlin out. The one thing you do also need to note is Sonstar, he started that initial play and was away from the lane. He's already down 11 CS to Kobbe, but has got a wave in front of him. I think it's pushing away from Sonstar though, so we're going to do a better job at tracking their CS as we progress through this early to mid game.
So, something that we actually saw in game 1 or something that we discussed was perhaps the lack of optimization of the use of the teleports coming out from Splyce. And largely, I think we can put that underneath the overarching thing of neither of these teams really look for a huge number of proactive plays. They tend to go for an objective and they force their opponents to react. And if you kind of want to be at the top of the LCS, you need to be looking to make those plays for yourself, setting up the opportunities for your own personal gain. And with this first blood coming out from Giants, that does suggest the glimmer of hope, but it does make me wonder moving forward how much both these teams are actually going to be looking to make these plays, or are we going to see another 50-minute slugfest of just going back and forth?
Hey, look, I think a small part to answer that question, 2 tiers of the goddess on the side of Splyce. And as, you know,
symbolizing my sadness.
Everybody knows that means you need to slow things down, get those stacking.
For Splyce, though.
It's power trough time for Splyce.
Yes.
They're in the dip, but when that dip fills up, power spike time. If they couple that with a locket, they're golden. As Knights is forced to run away.
For that, mate.
There we go. That'll work too. That'll work too. Expecting that on maybe MIkyx if he gets far enough ahead. Although Haunting Guys is more likely the cause. MIkyx's going to be standing in front of Maxlore and Knight. Stood right on top of a ward, so Maxlore knows, and MIkyx just gets deleted. Sonstar with a deadly flourish picks up Giant's second kill.
Wow, Mickey was not expecting that damage. This is the thing about Zyra. Low mobility, super squishy mage, has one of the lowest base healths in the game, does have the Sightstone completed, but it's just not enough to deal with the burst coming out from Giants, and they get themselves another kill.
This time it lands in Sonstar's hands, which is so, so crucial. Taking a look at the CS differences, Kobbe still marginally up. Knight again winning the CS situation as here we go, Mickey just gets caught.
Yeah, it's just a
I mean,
quick one too. Knock into the range of Knight, who is already prepping up his Tides of Bloods. Get a very quick and easy kill down onto Mickey, who's now only level 4. It's at level 4 of Hustlin as well. But have a look at the positioning of Trashy right now. He might be able to get away from this one, as Mickey is there to provide support.
Forced to burrow away. Splyce could be surrounded though. There are a number of Giants members coming in, but actually, maybe it's Splyce that want this fight. Splyce are running. Hemoplague is down. Kobbe gets tagged with one, forced to flash away. Already used the Arcane Shift. Look at the damage from that Hemoplague. Kobbe was in trouble.
So this is one of the problems that you have when there's not enough hard crowd control in your team. While if they just had a little bit more CC, they could have set up a really good play there, especially with the fact that Kobbe not having that many items right now, as you mentioned, the item trough that he's currently sitting in. But still, they were able to force the flash out of Kobbe, which is always a good thing to have, as Sonstar takes a chunk of damage from Sencux, who is level 9. He needs to be very mindful of this. Sencux has decided to go for the Ignite, so he does have a lot of kill threat onto Sonstar if he's not careful enough.
Slightly different approach to this early game now. Giants, they seem more alive, you know, on the map. Although, wait, hold that thought, because Sonstar may not be alive. Actually, it's Hustlin. He gets caught by the Grasping Roots, flashes away from the knock-up, and wants to maybe turn this one around into Trashy. Deadly Flourish goes out towards Sencux, a good crystallized wall. Flash Frost into Frostbite. Hustlin, summon a heal, buy some time. The shield keeps him staying alive. Sidesteps away from the roots, and Mickey can't find anything more. So close to a kill, but a bunch of summoners gained.
Certainly was. Hustlin had to use his exhaust there to mitigate the damage that was coming out from Splyce, but this is one of the great plays that you can make on Anivia. If you catch people off in a choke point, use the wall, you force them in a direction, makes landing that Q so much easier. But have a look at Wunder. He's got no tower.
No, he doesn't. Flashes from the barrel, sends him towards the wall. SmityJ dashes over, throwing out the blades, and Smitty's continuing to run. Will not be able to chase him past Sencux's Crystallize. Summon a spell again. Maxlore trades his for Wonders.
So, good setup once again coming out from Maxlore. Wunder, now that he has his Subjugate, is tanky enough to be able to get out of that one. But Splyce, they're 3 members strong in the bottom half of the map because Giants, they want to commit to this Rift Herald. It is 12.5 minutes into the game. Could get some decent value out of this, but they are going to lose a lot of health on this tier 2 turret in the bottom.
Yeah, Splyce have been pushing that tower all game long. Smitty is able to pick up a Rift Herald buff, Eye of the Void. And I think that's very important. He's down in CS marginally, and I think wants to be going toe-to-toe with Trundle. So this will help him out as Trundle continues to scale up and start itemizing those tanky stats. Cloud Drake, unchallenged. Splyce are the ones that grab it.
Certainly will be. This is something about the Cloud Drake that you will come to know and love, which is usually that teams won't often fight over it. They'll just take it when they can. It's like the last donut in the cake shop. Just like, well, do you want it?
No, I fought over that one.
Oh, you
I have fought over that one.
Coming at the end of the day, you and a rival co-caster, both after that donut.
The only thing if it's a cinnamon roll, things are going down.
Well, unfortunately, the Cloud Drake is no cinnamon roll.
No, especially not the pro players. SmityJ, a little bit of trouble, but still has flash available. Still got those transcendent blades for any sort of healing that he might want. Easily able to deal with it. Look at the warding on the minimap, because I felt both teams slightly lackluster in game 1. So I'd like to see how they make use of it as we progress in the series.
And this ties into what we were discussing earlier about setting up those proactive plays. You do need to have good vision control, whether that be deep vision or just setting up vision around objectives. And to be fair, I would argue that both teams have done a decent job of controlling the objectives that they want to fight over. Good management over their pink wards, and you can actually see a lot of pink wards sitting in the inventories of both teams. So when they want to make a play around an objective in particular, they are quite good at setting that vision up. What they're not great at is just generic vision during the downtime when there's not an objective on the map to play, and that is resulting in both teams getting caught out of position, and often why Wunder is in this situation where he's always flashing away from Maxlore's ganks.
Yeah. Wunder's still got a serious advantage despite the pressure, because I think he's been ganked, what, like 3 times already at 15 minutes? Both teams are even in gold, even in towers, and Splyce are fully committed to this late game. Rod of Ages after the tier for Sencux's Anivia, so there's a lot of scaling time to be coming in here.
But the big thing for Splyce right now is we talked about their composition and how in terms of what it provides, it's actually relatively well-rounded. You have pretty good objective control, good wave clear. But what they can't deal with is this 1-3-1 setup as Trashy takes a bit of damage. Knight is there, but Trashy going to be able to tunnel out of that one. But yeah, this 1-3-1 setup, who's going to be able to deal with both Knight and SmityJ once they have their big items completed? Spirit Visage done, Trinity Force being worked on by SmityJ. And yes, Wunder, he's going to be able to deal with one, but can he deal with both?
Oh, look at this. Kobbe's hanging out. MIkyx stands firm. Knight running in, looking for a kill, not going to be able to find it. Sidesteps from Sencux. He's dodged 1, dodged 2, dodged 3. A 4th skill shot tags him. And I think Sonstar held on to the final bullet.
Yep.
There's Giants trying to make plays. I really like MIkyx. He knew Knight was coming at him, landed the grasping roots, waited for Kobbe, waited for Kobbe to put some damage down, and that was enough to thwart potential attempt on MIkyx's life.
And you saw right there the big problem that Vladimir does have. When you have to just run at enemies, when you have all this big AoE abilities, it becomes very difficult for you to actually close the gap.
The only thing that I am excited to see when we get there, Ghost in, Proto Belt over a grasping root, or flash over it, and then Proto Belt.
You'd have to sidestep.
1 then 2.
Yeah.
1 then 2.
Yeah, you could do that.
There's a lot of distance you can cover with those 2 abilities.
But it does also mean burning your flash to dive into 5 members of the enemy team. So.
Vladimir, you're Vladimir. It's what you want to do.
If you're fed, yeah. I mean, what Vlads have you met? But
the Vlads of my nightmares.
You definitely want to close the gap. You also have to be very mindful that because you... nice engage from Maxlore, but no team to follow up.
No, not yet. MIkyx just flashes over the wall. Grasping Roots doesn't find a target. Remember, there's no Stranglethorns. It was used earlier in the fight. Wunder has teleported in from behind, but he may not want to be here. There's Knight on the front line. Hemoplague was used and didn't really find a target. I think everyone got out of range. And Giants unable to really make anything stick.
That was actually a really good wall from Sencux. He caught Knight in a really awkward position because you can't pull underneath the wall, which meant that he was forced to use his flash. And now he's not going to have it available for that aggressive play that Quickshot was so excited to see. But he is working towards that Proto Belt, so at least he's going to have 50% of the combo available.
I want to double check. I feel like the Hemoplague whiffed. I think everyone got out of range, so...
I think he did hit it, but he couldn't really follow up with any further damage. So
makes sense. And also, there's not exactly a whole lot of ability power.
No.
59 AP with the Lucy Boots and Spirit Visage.
Loosey-goosey. Got to be all loosey-goosey with the Lucy Boots. As Wunder now getting collapsed on.
Once again, Wunder has seen this movie many, many times and is able to get away with his life this time round. But a very clear focus on who Giants are trying to unlock, I feel. If SmityJ can keep pressure on the side lanes, it then allows Maxlore and Knight to look for engages elsewhere. But SmityJ, he's the one that's now in trouble. Chilling Smite comes out from Trashy and knock up from the Unburrowed. Smitty's running for his life, gets chomped down, and a furious bite from Trashy sends him packing.
And just comes back to vision, which is exactly what we were talking about earlier. When it comes to just the downtime, when neither team is really playing around objective, the vision does lack. SmityJ wanted to just shove the turret up, shove the wave, up to the turret, but he did it without any knowledge of where Trashy was, and he knew that Maxlore wasn't in an area to support him, and so he just gives away a free kill. And this is something that these teams, the teams at the LCS, really shouldn't be making.
Yeah. Especially when you consider what the cost is. All of the tempo that you build up, all of the pressure that you apply to Splyce gets completely relieved. It allows Splyce to not only get the kill, but first of the game, back away, and potentially get in position for Dragon. Splyce have got one ward behind that Dragon Pit, and a teleport is not available for Wunder, nor is it for Smitty, so Wunder's going to be the first one to peel back. control in favor of Splyce.
Yeah, notice that Sonstar caught a little bit out of position, forced to use his flash, which is going to be really big moving forward for Splyce's Maxlore, looking for the engage.
He's gonna find it, knocks Mikyx into the tower. Mikyx gets caught out. Gonna trade jungler for support. I think Splyce should be happy for now. Knight's running amok on the front line. Transfusion after transfusion. Tides of blood. Dashes. Wunder wears health. And finally a sanguine pool to get out alive. Splyce are still very healthy though. With the exception of Wunder and the mana pool from Sencux, should be able to defend the tower.
So 1-for-1 overall. Giants going for the engage, but they're putting a little bit too much emphasis onto shutting down MIkyx. He is only the support. He's not really the target that you need to be afraid of moving forward. It is this Anivia and this Ezreal who, unfortunately for Maxlore, wasn't really able to lock down. So you see the engagement. He didn't even aim for Sencux. His priority was always on getting the kill onto MIkyx. And then, because they have no real hard crowd control, there's no way for them to get any real follow-up. Even though Wunder, he has no mana, he is basically on no health. They're still not quite able to get the kill.
No, they're not. And oh, look at that. Wow, Sencux, I think he flashed forward for that one. Picks up a kill in the Sonstar, gets egged, turned into breakfast here under the tower. On the back line, Trashy and MIkyx trying to do more. Barrel connects from Maxlore's. Trashy's still running away with his life. Didn't see the setup for that one, but they come away again 1-for-1. But I think more damaging. Oh, look at this. Tides of blood plus transfusion. That's 30%. Kobbe's running, flashes away from the next Tides of blood.
So both mid laners forcing flashes and summoner spells out of their opponent AD carry. Sencux goes very hard onto getting that kill onto Sonstar, which results in him giving away not only his egg, but also his life. And when we look at last week where Sencux didn't even die on Anivia, he's now already started to affect that Anivia KDA. It's now no longer infinite.
It's not. Now it is defined.
Yes, it is defined. So
still good. One more cuts it in half.
it's all right. It's all right. But yep. So having a look at the state of the game right now, Splyce do currently lead. A couple of items have been picked up. The proto belt is finished as well for Knight, so
goody.
Going to be easier for him to dive onto the map. Goody.
Yes, that is my exact response. Proto belt is available. Ghost has just become available. Flash is available.
But Anivia is also in the game.
Yeah, but I don't care. You can flash over that wall. I have faith in Knight. We talked about his kill share and his kill participation and how crucial he is for Giants. I think he's going to go just a little bit crazy in some of these fights.
Well, I'll tell you who has definitely been having a big impact this game, and that is Maxlore. 100% kill contribution so far. Has been setting up a lot of ganks all over the map.
All four of them?
All four of them. This bloodbath of a game. I feel like Giants need to slow down.
But I think, no, I do joke a little bit. Maxlore's had very good explosive casks. Multiple times he's knocked a squishy member, which has then resulted in flashes. And Dragon is being started here. Knight charging up that Tides of Blood. Transfusion is available to him. But look at this, there's no damage on Dragon. It's taking very, very low. Smited away. It's Splyce that picked this one up. Crystallized walls on the back line. Sunstar's got a safe position. Body slam away to safety. Giants, that was a little awkward. They didn't really commit for the Dragon. They didn't really commit for the fight. They do now. The barrel splits up. Splyce.
Nice.
SmityJ's got one. Sencux is down. There is no egg available. The deadly flourish roots MIkyx on the back line. Taking a look at the final call, the curtain call. It's not going to pick up a kill just yet. It will on the back end. Kobbe goes down. Giants find 3.
Great patience from Maxlore to wait for Splyce to just ever so slightly overcommit. They get the barrel down onto Sencux, and that is the target that they need to be shutting down. Forget the Zyra. She's not the main damage dealer. Shut down Sencux and ruin his KDA.
That's exactly what they're planning to do, though I think the point of a potential drawn series is what matters here. Trashy, no smite available. Taking a look at the cooldown, there's another 6 seconds. May it be up for a potential steal. Wunder's coming in as well. Giants are going low. 4,000 hit points, 2,000 hit points. Baron's going down. Trashy's rooted in place. Baron below 1,800. Trashy forced away. Tunnels forward. Oh! He's got it! He steals it! Picks up a kill on tonight. Splyce aren't done. They turn their attention over to Wunder. Wunder's now trying to get more into Maxlore. Trashy gives his life, but takes the Baron. True Shot Barrage tags Giants as the Ice Pillar comes up. MIkyx's in trouble, gets chunked down. A lot of damage from Irelia. MIkyx survives, but Splyce take the Baron.
Oh, Giants. You had one job, and that was not throw the game. You only had to be happy with the kills. You could take the tier 1 turret in the mid. Yes, you could have gone for the Baron play, but you did not play around Trashy effectively, and you enabled him to get the steal. So let's just backtrack for a second. Let's see how things went right for Giants before we see how things went so right for Splyce. So Maxlore, they know they have vision control around here. He just patiently moves into the bush, waits for Splyce to overextend. The moment he sees Sencux overcommit, he knocks him into his team and they quickly get the pickup. And then after that, there's no more zone control to stop the rest of Giants from cleaning up the fight. And then Knight just goes to town on the backline with Sonstar picking up that quick and easy kill. They feel confident. They want to go for the Baron play. And the damage a little bit low this early on. Trashy sitting there at full health, and he just buys so much time. Him and Wunder doing so much work on the front of the pit. The clear on the Baron just isn't good enough, and just keep your eyes on Splash. He comes under the wall. Oh, it was actually a big crit coming out from Sonstar. Maxlore didn't expect the damage to come out. Trashy read it quickly and was able to get that smite still down. Just a bit of poor communication coming out from Giants, giving that one away.
You can see that HP bar, 1200 to 500, and that's what allowed Trashy to steal it. So, take stock of the situation as we come out of that extended replay. 25 minutes on the clock. Splyce are up 4,000 gold despite being down in kills. They've got themselves 2 additional towers. Correction, 3 additional towers. And Splyce can look to control, correction, 4 additional towers, as now Splyce can look to completely take control of this game.
This is going to be so hard for Giants to come back from this. That Baron was do or die. If they picked it up, they were looking great, but if they lost it, there's just so little that they can do, because now there's no real way for them to engage onto the Splyce unless Maxlore gets a flank engage.
He's looking forward. Flash is available, as is the cask. Sonstar, a deadly flourish route could be so impactful. The body slam. Flash gets Kobbe and Miky. Kobbe's running for his life. The first shot from Curtain Call goes wide, as does the second. 1 remaining. Does not find a member of Splyce. And Splyce are able to back away, look to re-engage. Wunder did not even flinch. Continues to pressure that mid lane.
There's the power of the disengage coming out from Splyce, even though the initial initiation coming out from Maxlore was great. It was just the ultimate. Oh, Knight taking a lot of damage.
He is indeed. Flash Frost doesn't stun him, is able to survive with Sanguine Pool. The tower's taken down at only 27 minutes. The base is open. No Stranglethorns available. A lot of pressure on Sencux. Follow his mana pool. If that goes low, Splyce are in trouble. But they'll be content. They back away. Over 1,000 gold on every single member. Over 2,000 gold for Kobbe. And they're just going to extend their itemization advantages further.
The disengage is just too strong from Splyce. Even though Giants get the initiation that they want, the initiation that has been working for them throughout that game, it just isn't enough to close the gap against Splyce, who are now so far ahead in this game. And it all stems off of a single Baron play, and it just winds back into what you and I have been discussing so much throughout this series, which is the questionable decision-making that we have been seeing throughout both of these teams' plays. We felt like Splyce definitely slightly higher up in terms of making the plays, and from what we've seen and the way in which they reacted to that Baron was phenomenal, but Giants, the one thing that is holding them back really is deciding when to force these objectives and when to just back off and be happy with what you've got.
What Splyce have got, 2 Cloud Drakes. Third one spawning shortly. Get all that movement speed.
Gotta go fast.
Gotta go real fast. And some Executioner's Calling picked up for Kobbe. That's gonna help out. Trashy's in trouble. It's caught up by Explosive Cask. Another Curtain Call. Optimistic at best. Trashy just face tanks that one. Did pick himself up the locket. I'm a fan of that.
Gotta be honest that Sonstar's accuracy with the ultimate, not the best. Hasn't quite been on point with those curtain call shots, but still.
I mean, this is the second time we've seen him play Jhin. Last time was a loss. He went 1-1 and 3, so very, very little impact in the game. Now, this is a little unfair on a team who has very limited victories in the LCS.
Yeah.
But going to go all the way back to our pregame. We mentioned that Giants still looking for their identity, still trying to find what it is that they do well as a team, because they've got individually talented players. Giants will take a Dragon uncontested. But when it comes to the team dynamic and when it comes to playing the map, making strategic plays, you know, there's flickers of brilliance, there's moments that are good, but it doesn't add up to be collectively regularly good.
No, unfortunately, it does not. I quite like that play coming out from Splyce, where they basically said, you know what, you have a cloud break. We've got enough. I mean, we're fine. You take this one. As now, Giants will be able to move around the map ever so slightly faster. But just taking stock of some of the items that have been completed. Anivia actually deciding to go for the Rylai's Morellos, stacking up a lot of mana into the then Void Staff. Still hasn't decided to upgrade into that Archangel Staff, which is a little bit surprising, but he hasn't quite fully stacked it yet. Still valuing that high cooldown reduction, and having just picked up that blue, he's likely going to be capping out relatively soon.
Well, on 356 AP with the current build, Knights, he picked up the Hourglass not too long ago, only on 216 AP, so still building up some of that ability power, charging up.
The reason he's built the Morello is obviously full of Vladimir, Grievous Runes. Does make a lot of sense thinking a little bit more about it. And pretty much that is how Splyce are itemizing right now. I feel like the whole pick and ban was for dealing with the Vladimir, which they've done a decent job of so far, as that is all 4 shots missing on the Mikyx.
Mickey's wearing those blue sage shoes and he's just tap dancing around. Sonstar cannot find a target. By the way, Wunder is a level advantage over SmityJ. Forced away, even off his frozen domain. Doesn't get caught down by the deadly flourish. Very, very good pillar of ice, which in this case is a trophy. Flash for flash. The rest of Splyce, they're on Baron. They've started it, starting to burn it down. Wunder where it's going to teleport in. Sorry, Wunder. And turns her attention. Defensive flash from Smitty. Explosive cast from Maxlore. Splits up Splyce. But Mickey's been able to back away. The damage is coming down. Kobbe's already taken down Maxlore. Sonstar took way too long to get to the fight. It's a double kill for Kobbe. He got a quadra kill in game 1. Can he do it again? A golden knight in the mid lane. He will be the target. Knocked up by Trashy, by the Unburrow. Very good crystallize. Allows a triple kill for Kobbe. He's not done yet. Mystic shot. Finds Hustlin. Looking for more. There's a flash away as Sonstar's running for his life. A great pillar. Sencux steals the kill away, preventing the quadra. And this should open up an inhibitor or more for Splyce.
Really smart play from Splyce, noticing that Sonstar had gone down to the bottom lane to try and get a gank down onto Wunder. Because of the positional advantage that Splyce had, they forced the Baron, they forced Giants to quickly react in an unoptimal position. They go for the fight 4v5, and things just go horribly wrong for them as Sonstar, he is just slowly being bled away.
He really is. He just wants to recall. Make it stop, Sencux. He manages to pick up a kill. As the inhibitor is taken out in the mid lane, is taken out in the bottom lane. And Splyce are backing away. They've got a 10,000 gold lead. They've got supers. And it should just be a matter of time before they take down the Nexus.
All they need to do now is go towards the Baron, set up good vision control already. You can see Trashy making his way there. And once they pick that Baron up, they can look to close out the game. So have a look at this coming out from Splyce. So much zone control coming out from the Anivia. Forces Giants to group up in this choke point. And then not only do you have the Zyra ultimate there, that's going to quickly follow up by the Anivia wall. And Giants just cannot close the gap. Trying to get all that damage out onto Mikyx. Again, not the target you want to be focusing down. And that just results in Kobbe and Sencux being able to clean up the fight.
And they did that so exceptionally well. Crystallized wall blocks off any attempt here from Giants. Baron going down fairly slowly, in fact, but look at the minimap. SmityJ and Sonstar nowhere near. Not able to contest. And, you know, when you're ahead, it's much easier to make calls, but Splyce look much more coordinated this time around. Maxlore throws out the cask. There's no damage to follow it up. Maxlore's already down. Stranglethorn zoned away any potential re-engage. Splyce, they are a little bit split up. SmityJ, he's looking for Kobbe, will not find him. SmityJ's in trouble now. I think he's still got the egg available. Flash Frost won't stun Knight. It's a triple kill for Kobbe. Will he find the quadra this time round? Sanguine Pool comes out. Sencux actually gets egged. Knight continues to run for his life as Trashy's chasing him down. On the minimap, Splyce are peeling into the base. That heal is monstrous. Knight's not done yet. Gonna do what he can against these minions. Trashy buffing them up and making life difficult. The rest of Splyce, they're onto the Nexus turret. The Queen of the Rek'sai taking on... Is it the Blood Mage? No, he's not Blood. I'll have to remember that one.
Lord.
The Blood Lord Vladimir. Does not matter. First pick is irrelevant. Splyce pick up a 2-0 victory and a convincing win in the second game of the series.